Hey everybody, welcome to the pre-market analysis that we open up to the public every single Wednesday. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what's going to happen this morning, and then I'll pass over to Beth. So once I'm done speaking here, Beth will come on. She'll give you a breakdown of what's going on from a macro standpoint, any news events that happen over the course of the evening. She'll rip through any of the ETFs, bigger picture items that make sense to be looking at. Once that's done, I'll come back on. We'll be talking about any of the names that I'm looking at that are gapping up, gapping down today, individuals. And we'll talk about the news associated with those gap ups and build a technical action plan for those names on the open. We'll also go through the SPY, the FANG, the Qs, the IWM, as well as the VIX. And then I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to South Beach. So South Beach will come on, give you a breakdown of the analyst calls for the day that he's looking at, individual names, as well as some of the macros as well. And then we'll do a quick little recap of those individual names that I talked about in regards to the action plan before the open, and then we'll be ready to go. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Beth. And I'll talk to you guys shortly. Beth, if you're ready, it's all yours.
Indeed, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome. Pre-market here at SpartanTrading.com. We do this every day. On Wednesdays, we open it up to our YouTube stream, to our friends. Let's take a peek what's going on. The chatter of, oh my goodness gracious, with China, with inflation. Yeah, but month over month, it's down. Year over year, it's up. And then PPI, obviously, year over year. I don't understand why this would be surprising, but hey, what can I say? Germany came out with their trade balance as expected, a little bit better than expected, actually. They have a 30-year Bund auction. Still very quiet. We do have, what about that Scholz number? My goodness, this is the problem, okay? And this eventually has to be the driver for inflation. But on the other side, if you're making more money, then you can spend more money. And if things cost more, then you can afford to pay more. It's fascinating times we live in. I mean, nobody knows what the hell's going to happen. And that's the reality. I keep saying that all these talking heads, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter if they don't know, never lived through this before. That's simple. EIA. See, walking the wild side, who knows what, I mean, they're normally not. It's like the weatherman, right? It can be wrong and still okay. Wholesale inventories, we do have that coming out, 10-year note auction. And then we have PPI over in Japan. The inflation rate's going to be interesting, and that's going to come out tomorrow. And I think the market is going to be wanting to see that. It's very light on the economic side. We don't even have any Fed heads talking. We do have next week, obviously, the FOMC meeting. Okay, so let's talk. ProPublica. It's all over the wires, right? I mean, people who you would think would be paying more in taxes aren't paying as much in taxes. This is a big deal. And the reason why it's a big deal is this is ammunition that basically gives a lot of those who believe that the uber wealthy don't pay their fair share. And that some of these loopholes, and a lot of this is interest expense, but who would know that, Elon Musk would be the top dog here paying 3.27%. And Warren Buffett only 0.10. It basically is, it's a shocker. And I think it does give credence to some of these individuals who say, hey, these people aren't paying their fair taxes. See how it plays out, right? Okay, let's take a look here. This is why the A shares is doing fine. Okay, this is why a lot of these other ETFs are not, because they're all weighted in Tencent, Alibaba, Meituan. Now there's a interesting article that says that there's one investor who says that they think it's almost done. Okay, and that now you have valuation with a lot of these names, and you can look at these going forward. I'm neutral on it. Every now and then we see that there is call sweeps coming in on BABA, but I'm fairly neutral right now. I have my stuff hedged. I'm in itty bitty delta trades, and I don't care. Right? All right, so let's take a look at Biden. He says, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Right? I want to talk to the bipartisan Senate group. So Senator Capito, basically, you're done. Next, you're fired, right? Off the island. And this is probably the most important thing, the supply chain issue globally that has to be addressed. And I think that's a good thing that the administration also ransomware cyber attacks. You know that. I mean, that's not a big deal, right? The China tech threat was passed 68 to 32. I want to know what those 32 people who voted against it are thinking, right? And then basically they're going to move without the Republicans. Yeah, this is historically very fascinating to see what's going on, that you have, we haven't actually been in this sort of narrative before, and to this degree, and it's going to be one for the history books in terms of Democrats versus Republicans. I don't understand why they can't come to get to some, agreement, but hey. Here you see the factory inflation. Yeah, UK prices that are going to chip shortage. I don't know about this one. Bailey's had an article, could be easing. I don't know about that one. So anyways, lots to talk about. Ransomware, taxes. Now we move forward, right? I want to reintroduce you to this guy. He is the best of the best guys when it comes to electric vehicles. That, in terms of lithium, batteries, everything. This guy is the top dude. And I've mentioned him before. He has a great article that came out in terms of what he's looking for in terms of electric vehicles going forward. And he also gives some picks for each one. Okay. So as you can see here, this is 2021. It's quite obvious that EV is starting to pick up notably, right? So great read. And if you're gonna dip your toes into this water, this is the dude you want to follow. And he is the best. Also on the commodity side in terms of anything that deals with EV. Okay, all right. Interesting today, UPS bringing it to your attention, right? The thought is that on a valuation basis, that the market has not properly priced in, okay, their earnings, right? Potential earnings, right? And it's just something that you have to be aware of. This could be a mover. So basically, Marotta is saying that $15 a share in earnings with 100% free cash flow, and the Wall Street has only factored in 13.41. Okay, so this is a positive long-term upside. So you could get a pop today in UPS. For those of you who like to trade UPS, I know a number of you do. Let's see what our gal's up to. Okay, Kathy, she's very busy. Selling a lot, buying a lot, She still likes you, right? Roblox, it's not a lot. I mean, but she still has a pretty good position on it. But still getting out of China, JD, yada, 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 yada. I know, everybody likes it. Okay, mad shout out to J Dubs, who hooked me up with this. I've already subscribed to it. We'll see how it plays out. It's interesting. This is what I find interesting, is that the volume, that what's going on in terms of these meme slash retail slash short squeezers, increasing the volume by 11.7%. So that's a big deal, right? And I'm kind of looking at this in terms of healthiness. I only want to look at the top dogs. So these sixes, Wendy's, Rocket in the Pocket, GME. But then you have here the next two are the fives. I don't want to look at anything below that right now, unless I start to see some sweeps. So we've been doing really well with that, right, guys? And I'll go in a little bit more detail, and I'll share my portfolio with my class tonight, so everybody can see how I'm playing this. But I have a list of all the stuff that I'm in. I have set aside one portfolio, and basically all I'm doing is these sweeps for low float, small caps, as well as short squeezies, and the retail, the social media type stuff. Okay, all right. So I'll let you know what I think of this, but I think it probably is worthy. It's only $24 a month, guys. So, all right, let's take a look at what you know me. I don't like to look at certain stuff. 20% up, 20% down. It has to have 70+%. So there's only one, that's Chamois. Interesting, right? Goldman Sachs. A lot of other stuff came out, but sorry, can do. Can't help. Yeah, 50. Anyways, yesterday, what happened yesterday? XLY, XLE. This was obviously Amazon, right? And Tesla. XLE Energy, XLI, XLE. It's going to be sloppy choppy every day. But the theme is still the same, right? And I've been pretty adamant about it. I think what we're seeing last couple of weeks is going to continue for the rest of the summer until September, when we get when the FOMC meets again and we get some real hard data in terms of what's going to happen in terms of quantitative easing. So when left to our own devices, this is like the dot-com bubble. There were two phases of the dot-com bubble. And don't forget, guys, it lasted, each phase lasted 2 years, right? This is a different variation. This obviously is not the dot-com bubble, but this is a valuation bubble. But a lot of these, and I was very adamant about Clover, right? It actually does stuff, and it actually, is a company that, is hard to value as a SPAC, but, we'll go from there. All right. Yesterday, okay, it's time. This won't end well. My mantra again, this won't end well. Someone's putting a lot of hedges on these small caps. I'm assuming that they have offsets for it, but, anyways. So what are we looking for? This is the name of the game, guys. Sophie, I'm in that. Kodak, I'm in. Well, I'll show you what I'm in. This KO, keep an eye on this KO. I should have followed it, but I probably will follow it this morning. On a valuation basis, this is interesting to me. And I'm going to keep an eye. SKE. I did not follow this one. Did I follow this one? No, I did not. But OGs was sweeping. So this is it. Wish I nailed. I jumped on that all over that, and Digley Root, right? And all these are kind of. Spartan was in MIT, and you get the idea with this. All right. So this is the name of the game. Once again, I'm going to keep playing it. Spartan's going to keep playing it until it stops. And I think it's going to last until you may have 1 or 2 days where there's a rotation into the mega growth cap stuff, but overall, this is the name of the game. All right, heat map. This still isn't a healthy heat map, guys, but it's not horrible, right? If you look at it, this was the day before, so this was worse, right? And here you see here. So it's not all that bad, but it's not what I'd like to see. But a lot of this is commodities. This is really real estate. We're going to talk. I'm sorry, retail. We're going to talk about retail today as a deep dive as well. Okay. Fund flows, not a whole hell of a lot, a little bit out of IBB, right? And a little bit into QQQ, SPY, not a lot. Okay, so speculative further peaked in February. So the question now is, what does this mean? That's a pretty good question. I think this means that we're going to eventually get to, I don't think this kind of gets perky on any of these types of trades until the end of the summer. And you know the narrative, but Apple has obviously tailwinds they can in terms of their in October, but we'll see. For me, it's very, very almost impossible to do anything short dated with this stuff. Okay. Call buying, you can see here 23 billion versus 44 billion. So the question is this a red flag or not? Don't forget on the other side of this, is a small trader as opposed to large trader. So the small traders kind of said, oh my goodness gracious. And a lot of what's going on, because it's not these mega growth caps, they're not expensive. They're basically doing these for smaller, the low floats, the small cap, this short squeezes stuff, okay? So back into equity options and went right back down, put call, yada, yada, yada. So what does this mean? After robo put call ratio is greater than 0.4. Well, of course, it's bullish for the market. Come on. This is why it's so, how can you not be invested in this market, guys? I mean, it's BTFD. This is the best game in town, and it will be the best game in town. Interest rates would probably, I don't even know if the 2.5%, whatever, would be enough to get out. I mean, but don't forget, because of inflation in terms of the actual with dividends, it's getting squishy. But if you are in, it's a basically an individual ticker market. That's what you want to be focused in on. Now, S&P after robo put call ratio is less than 0.35%. That's negative, right? But not by a lot. I'm sorry, this is positive, but anyways. Still some interest in index hedging. I don't mind this though. I'm doing it, so why not? But it's hard a lot. When I set up this portfolio, you can't really hedge it. I mean, it's basically that it gets, pimped overnight if it doesn't, right? This is the portfolio. This is my all the stocks that are options, calls. I have a little bit of equity. So I'm basically in this stuff, right? And you can see here, BlackBerry, BBIG, SocialV, yada, yada, yada. And I'll share this with my class tonight, and so it can be verified, yada, 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 yada. Edit for, a fuel cell, yada. Well, anyways, you can see, okay? And this is like almost like a scatter thing. I mean, statistically, even if 70%, 65%, you know the statistics, right? If you basically let your winners ride and you get out at 50% and off you go, sort of thing. So this is what it all looks like. So I'm in all of these things in one portfolio, and this is basically dedicated just to meme sweeps, yada, 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 yada. Okay, this Amazon is, that was in there before, and it's worthless, so I'm not gonna get out of it. Okay, all right, PXN. It still has not broken down, guys. This is a huge red flag. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying it's a huge red flag. But to be honest with you, who cares? If we have all of these individual tickers, these little shits and bits going up, 5, 10, 15, 20, 35, 50%, right? Who cares? And they're optionable. Who cares about what's going on in the NASDAQ? I'm just saying, this is why I've rotated because I haven't done anything long-term. And we focus on this in class, focuses on this in the room. I'm only focused on this because I'm going to ride this little pony until it stops, right? It's musical chairs. All right, let's take a look at bonds. What's going on here? All right, so yields are down across the board, 30, 10, 5, 2. Canada down, European government all down, Australia, Hong Kong all down, yields are all down. Boy. Okay, so what's happening? We're breaking down. All right, this is a big deal, the 147.20. If if bonds never lie, what the fuck? Excuse me, what the hell's going on here? This shouldn't be happening, right? How can this happen? What's going on? What's going on is that the institutions basically got too short and they basically have to cover. That's what's going on. All right, German 10-year, 10-10, right? Deal. Germany's still hanging in there against the US. And this, once again, is a function of money flows, right? And this is why we look at this every day. And you can see here the gilt's doing its thing, hasn't broken out one way or the other. And then you can see here the 10 here against the gilts, and it's losing track against that. Here's the Chinese. Isn't that interesting? Look at that extension negation. This is so highly manipulated. So anyways, and here's the Chinese US 10. This is looking to break out. And so this is, China wants it to break out, it breaks out sort of thing, right? Okay, let's look a little currencies quickly, see what the flows look like. Euro's up against the dollar, British pound's up, right? Yen's up, Swiss is up, and you can see Aussie, so the dollar's softening up a little bit, right? Okay. All right, here's the dollar. You can see right here, it's got a little bit rebuffed. Now let's see if it holds here. If not, with the interest rates doing what they're doing, guys, we should be breaking this this 89, 13, 15. What is this? On the downside here, 89, 16 and a half. Okay. All right. Gold dollar got rebuffed. You know the drill on that one. Here we are in the euro, double top. You know the drill with that. There's the Chinese new one doing its thing. Let's take a look here on the commodity side. You know, we look at this every day, pre-market. Gold and silver, gold's down a little bit, silver's up a little bit. Not, you know, just shits and bits all over the place, right? And then you have oil, shits and bits all over the place. Natural gas is down, but oil crude's up. And then you can see here the corn, soybeans that were strongly up, now they're down. And lumber, this is the big guy. I mean, and this is another reason why that, you know, we can see, because the lumber was driving a lot on the inflation side. So in CRB, as you can see here, we are breaking out, and that simply is, my friends, a function of crude. Cryptos. I'm very light on cryptos. Everybody knows that. It is bouncing a little bit, but it hasn't reclaimed any support in my pivots. So I'm just going to sit on the sideline until it actually starts to do something with it. Bang. All right, below the 20 EMA. Let's take a look at retail. I told you I was going to do a little bit of time on this. So this is XOT, right? Looks like we're starting to break out. Big deal, right? Let's see what happens here. This is really fat. Don't forget, this is the monthly. I mean, there clearly is, something going on here. And this is, I can't explain this to the extent this goes all the way back to 2006. Right? And it's fascinating to see how this is a massive flag on the monthly, right? And it basically has to take that out. Let's do some fibs on it just so we can get that going. Right? We need to see some fibs. So we have this and we have this, right? So, but it's just, I find this amazing. But this thing can really get going here, guys. When you have this sort of monthly breakout, you're looking at 300% that, so that's 173. I may just start to look at that. Okay, so here's XOT against the FANG, right? Breaking out against FANG, right? But needs to really pop this top right here before we can get really excited. And then let's do our fibs on this as well. So it's all about relationships, right? You know me, it's all about, you want to get the best bang for your buck. So basically this is the pivot. It comes in also at the 50% fib. So we'll see if that breaks out, then you have room on the upside here. The next level of resistance comes in here, right? But as you can see, this can definitely, so what is this? Believe it or not, guys, this is telling you want to be in retail, XOT, right? Here's SPY against XOT, again, it's butt kicked. Look at that big flag, right? It's a monthly. It's telling you as well, right? If we break below and the bear flag starts to break down, right? That retail is going to continue to outperform the SPY, right? So you want to be long retail, XOT, and you want to be short the SPY. Crazy, I know. All right, new one. This is ONLN. This is the Pro shares. It's been out since 2018. Hasn't been around long, but I wanted to see if this is something that interests me. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in this one, it's totally different in terms of what the holdings are. And this is what you really have to look at when you're doing something like this, all right? So basically this is the XOT ONLN. So XOT has been outperforming in this one. And you'll see why in a second, if it breaks this in the next leg upcoming. So what are the components, right? So basically this is the XOT, and it's basically retail, right? What we would consider retail dealers, Academy Sports, I'm in that one, Overstock, Target, Dick's, and they're all basically 1.5%, right? And that's working. And then on the other side is ONLN, is basically Amazon and Baba. You get the idea what's going on here, okay? So if 36% is Amazon and Baba, no wonder why you're losing against the others. Okay, all right, my time is up. Welcome once again to those of you who are joining us pre-market here. And those of you who are joining us through our live YouTube stream, it's time for me to pass things on. Are you ready, sir?
Just 1 minute here, Beth, please.
Not a problem. All right, so let's take a look at AMC, inside candle, nothing there. Once again, I'm looking for this, to do that. And then you can see here, Clover. I've been pretty adamant about this one. This is a conviction one. I've been pounding the table on it. Oh, fantastic W, right? Me and my W's. I just love my W's, right? It just kind of whoop, off she goes, right? And when you have this one as well, guys, you have to be aware that this sort of price action, you would normally look for a 300% price movement in it, and that gets you up to $40.87. Now, it's hard in terms of symmetry. So if we look at this quickly, what you want to do is, okay, so from here to here, what did it do? Okay, it basically went up 79%. Right? And you can see it's all, basically this is what's happening. It's more than 79%. So it's really hard for me to actually get a handle on this one because it's it being a SPAC, right, with IPOC. So, but the narrative still is the same. We'll have to continue to use fibs on that. It's a humongous candle, huge volume, right? I'm going to be taking probably, I'll have 1 quarter left on CLOV. The problem is they're not putting any new strikes on, which really ticks me off. And that really ticks me off. So I have to wait for them to basically put more strikes on because, me, it's all about the delta. I mean, they do go out to 40, but, oh, they did add some. Okay, cool. I didn't realize they added some today. So that's what I'm looking on some of these. I'm looking for a pullback, and then I'm going to basically roll. And we did do the spread on that. That should pass very nicely. All of these guys, just so you know, all of these, there's a laundry list that I posted on the option side that I'm going to be taking profits on. Right. So anything that we got into yesterday and before that's obviously gapping up overnight, you want to take a quarter, get 1/2 off. There's like 10 of them that you want to be looking at. Right, just so you're aware. I'm sure Spartan will be doing the same thing with the ones that he was posting as well. And this is where we are, and this is what we do. A lot of these I do like to spread, like with like Kodak, stuff like that. But we should continue to see more and more mania getting into this stuff because it's like the .com bubble, right? All right, let's take a look here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's take a look at the futures. Okay, here's the Russell up a little bit. We want this to, we don't want it to get away from us. This is up a little bit, and we have the S&P up a little bit, right? And the VXN is really interesting because it has not, you can see there here on the hourly as well. It hasn't really confirmed and broken and held below. So that makes me a little bit cautious overall. And what is that? It's really not impactful in terms of what we're doing. Right?
All right, Beth, I'm ready to come on. Alrighty, guys, what's going on? Morning. Thank you, Beth. Spartan here. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. If you guys are new to chat, Discord link was emailed to you. If you don't see it, it's going to be in your junk mail, most likely. So you can definitely look for it there. If you guys are new to the YouTube stream, welcome. Thanks for watching this morning. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. So a couple different things. Let's see. What do we got? A couple different things on watch this morning. Tesla, Path, WWE, Clove, Wish, AEMD. So Tesla gapping up slightly and stable through the market. Path, earnings mixed. Large miss EPS and rev beat. Q2 guidance raised. Stocks basically get gapping down on a EPS miss there. WWE getting some social media attention, sympathy with the other meme names. Clover Health says will scale in home primary care program through U.S. centers for Medicare and Medicaid service, direct contracting stocks gapping up on that. Wish gapping up, continuation momentum from last day's move. And then AEMD, shares are trading higher after the possibility following a Zacks SCR article on Tuesday titled AMD first ever in vivo removal of COVID virus from bloodstream of an infected patient. So let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two names that we're going to be looking at today, guys, Tesla and Path. Just watching this WPG breaking out or testing the breakout level on the daily to the upside. So first two, Tesla and Path. Let's take a look at Tesla here, guys. Tesla. It's a little bit of a pullback yesterday. Uptrends is still intact off the lows. That inverted head and shoulders level still intact. EMA support needs to be reclaimed today or should be retested today on the upside. We'll see what happens in that regard, but more of a kind of bullish consolidative move off the lows, in my opinion, so far. Pivot to the upside today is going to be that 605 or 606 level. Let's just mark this stuff down. There we go. Okay, there we go. 606.16 pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. You got room towards 619.17 to 631.02. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 592.34 to that 580.86 support on the downside. Overall on Tesla, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. Looking for a reclaim of the pivot and a continuation push to the upside. I'll only be leaning bullish neutral if we can get back above that pivot point. So that's going to be the key. Let's see what happens there. All right, let's take a look at Path. So Path stock is gapping on the downside today. We're about 67.30 a share. That recent range here. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on here intraday. Certainly looking more bearish for continuation to the downside. $67.77 pivot to the downside today on this path. Pivot's unable to hold, which is just a major support or resistance level, by the way. That dictates direction if it gets crossed. 67.77 unable to hold, towards 64.84 to 61.42. Able to hold, look for a push back to 70.64 to 74.86 on the upside. Overall, on path, going to be leaning bearish, looking for a continuation lower, in my opinion, if that pivot's unable to hold. So watch the pivot point this morning. We'll see whether it holds or not, and that should give us some direction in the short term. So that's Tesla. That is path. All right, let's take a look at the next two names. All righty, so all right, next two, we're looking at WWE and Clove. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. WWE, a little bit of a gap up, breaking this recent range to the upside on the daily. Not a bad chart off, actually. The lows here. Been some decent bullish consolidation for a few months. We're at about, what, $63 a share in the pre-market. It is usually a tighter range name. Okay. Works. So 62.31 pivot. Levels able to hold. They get room towards 64.67 to 67 on the upside. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback towards 59.56 to 57.53 on the downside. Overall on WWE, going to be leaning on the bullish side today, looking for a continuation push higher. If that pivot point's able to hold this morning. It is up on air right now, not a lot of volume. So we'll see if whether or not it's able to hold for continuation. All righty. So that is WWE. Let's take a look at Clove. All right, let's go intraday. $31.54, and then I won't be able to see the rest. Okay. That's fine. There. All right, so 28.31, guys. Pivot to the upside today on this Clove. Levels able to hold. They get room towards 30.26 to 31.57. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback to 24.94 to 23.03 on the downside. I think Clove could easily go higher than the top end resistance levels. I just don't have enough space to show you the next fib. Overall on Clove, going to be leading bullish out the gate, looking for a continuation push higher this morning. Nice momentum in the name so far. We'll see how well it holds up. And then we'll probably get a little bit of consolidation and a pullback in the afternoon after the morning. So we'll see. So that is Clove and that is WWE. Let me take a screenshot of those two and let's move on to the next two. So Wish, nice little gap up, continuation from last day's move. Gotta give it to South Beach. Was spot on this thing. All right, let's take a look at this thing intraday. Pivot 1545, levels able to hold 1657 to the 1819 resistance level will be tested on the upside. Above that, I believe it's like 2019. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 1371 to 1202 on the downside. Overall on Wish, going to be leaning on the bullish. Neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher. If that 1545 level is able to hold. So that's a decent looking chart with room for continuation on the upside. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at AEMD. I'm not gonna be able to see what that is, but that will work for now. All right, 1036 pivot to the upside today on AEMD. This level's reclaimed. We do have room for continuation back towards the 1374 to 1616 level, possibly 1853. Unable to hold 606 to 431 will be tested on the downside. Overall on AEMD, going to be leaning more on the bearish side today, looking for a pop topping. out the gate to take short. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, play the if you're going to be playing at short, wait for the momentum to slow down, die, and take it on that side. Otherwise, play the long side until it starts to break down. We'll see what happens there. So that is the Wish, and that is AEMD. Let's take a screenshot of these two, and let's move on to the Spy and the Fang. That's Wish, that's AEMD. All right, let's take a look at Spy and the Fang. All right, so what's going on in the market? Testing the all-time highs again this morning. We'll see if we're able to break out for continuation to the upside. Chart looks good from a technical standpoint for a continuation push. But of course, with all these smaller names moving, these meme stocks going, you tend to get some selling pressure in the market. Pivot to the upside today, 422.80. We've been basically stuck within this range for the last couple of days. 422.80 pivot levels able to hold. We got room towards 423.26 to 424.05. Unable to hold 421.88 to 420.72 on the downside will be tested. Going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. We'll see if we can break through it on the upside. Certainly looks bullish, but of course, we'll watch and play the intraday price action. Pulls back, it pulls back, just like the other days. We'll just watch the bottom end of the range, see if it holds, which it has been every single time it retests. Usually quite a bearish sell-off, but ends up holding that range level. All right, let's take a look at Apple. So 50 MA test on the daily to the upside. Which is that 127 level. I'm actually just going to pull it back. 127 to 18. So 127.18 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to be reclaimed. We got room towards 127.96 to 129.24. Unable to hold 125.92 to 124.98 will be tested on the downside. Overall on Apple, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation grind higher. So I want to see a retest of the pivot, see if we can get a reclaim of that 50 MA on the daily for a continuation push to the upside. That's Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. Pivot, 50 MA, reclaimed on the daily. That looks great. Okay. She looks pretty good. $32.56.87 level will be the pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. We got room for continuation into the 32.89.20. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 32.08.43 on the downside. Overall on Amazon, going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. Let's take a look at Netflix. So Netflix, a little bit more of a bearish look. Back below EMA support, a little bit of a downtrend intact in the short term. Pivot to the downside today is going to be that 492.71, unable to hold, room towards 465.52 to 476.60. Able to hold, look for a pushback to 498.99. to 504.32 on the upside. Overall on Netflix, going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for a continuation pull to the downside today. Maybe a retest of this 47 recent range low. And then we'll see what happens. It's going to be in a tight range either way, it looks like. We're looking a little bit more on the bearish side. So Facebook, nice looking daily chart. Continuation breakout to the upside. 333.79 pivot. Levels able to hold. They got room towards 338.48. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback to 331.77 on the downside. Overall on Facebook, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. So that is Facebook. And last but not least, guys, let's take a look at Google. So Google, similar to Facebook in that it's trying to break out to the upside, pivot to the upside today, or it is breaking out. Not similar, but similar to what it looked like before. Trying to break out to the upside. 2402.19 pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. We got room towards 2415.08 to 2434.99 on the upside. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback to 2384.91 to 2373. Overall, leaning bullish. Looking for a continuation push today. Just looking for that breakout to all-time highs. We'll see if we can get there. Google. Let's take a look at the VIX. VIX. Whoa. VIX, guys, pivot today is going to be that 1749 level, able to be reclaimed towards 1837, unable to hold 1660 to 1549. As you guys know, I use the VIX for direction on the market. So I watch that level closely, or the pivot closely on it intraday. That's what I'll be looking for there. Let's take a look at the Qs and IWM. So QQQ, head and shoulders test to the upside right here with room to all-time highs if it can break and hold above it. 338 level. I'm going to change this. 338.27, which is the pivot area. 338.27 pivot levels able to hold. We do have room towards 340 on the upside. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback towards 335.43 on the downside. Overall on the Qs, going to be leaning bullish today if we can break and hold above that pivot point. So we'll see if we can break and hold above it pretty quickly out the gate today. Watch that pivot point level. And again, that's 338.27. Let's take a screenshot of this and let's move on to the IWM, last but not least. All righty. So IWM. All-time high is going to be retested today, looks like. Nice chart. Pivot to the upside. 232.40, able to hold. We got run towards all-time highs, 234.51 area. It's actually 53, but whatever. Unable to hold 230.35 to 229.41 will be tested downside, leaning bullish on IWM to break all-time highs. I want to see IWM lead the market. So, lead the SPY, lead the Qs, and it's on its way to do so. It was lagging behind, but no more. So we'll see what happens there. So guys, that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today. Going to go ahead, pass it over to South Beach while I type up the pre-market action plan, and then we'll come on and do a quick little recap of everything that we talked about. South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours. Talk to you guys shortly.
Morning, guys. Hump day. Let's see what we're looking at. It's a lot of stuff today, boys. This is a great trading environment. Let's see what's going on. All right, so the bonds, 1489. Okay. Now you have all this noise about inflation and all this stuff. Everybody's saying, every clown that comes on TV is talking about, we're going to see this inflation come through the pipe and things are more expensive and so on and so forth. And in my experience, okay, the bond market is always right. Okay, not the stock market and these clowns that come on TV. Just look at the bond market. This is where the truth lies. Okay. And here we have a 1.489 down 0.039. Okay. Towards the lower end of the trading range for the last few months. Let's call it a trading range of between like 148 and 174 with the bulk between 150 and 160. So we're a little bit on the shorter side of that. My biggest fear going forward about the long-term sustainability of the market is bonds getting crushed. Okay. Because I don't think the government has the bullets if we were to go into another big dip. So we'll see what happens with that. Why is this happening? I don't know, really. Could it be that new strain of virus taking place in Europe? I'm not really sure, but it has me interested. Let's put it that way. I'm not, for now, though, okay, stocks act great. There's no competition for equities, and everything is status quo. But you always have, as a trader, you always have to look at the exit door. Right now, I'm barely looking at it, but this is the only thing that gives me concern. Okay, so we're in a sweet spot. It continues to be in a sweet spot, and equities are the place to be. The charts are all pretty good. I mean, you look at the S&P and the Qs. Let me just do a quick gander. I mean, what do you want? This is perfection. All right. So let's look on the other side. We got London, their 10-year is what? 0.73, they're down 0.04. Germany further into negative territory, they're down 0.26 at minus 0.03. I had said this, I would think maybe they'll go even July 4th. That does not look like that's going to happen. Italy's down a bunch as well. France, same thing. Japan, same thing. So here we go. Rates are down across the board. Maybe Powell's right. Transitory inflation. Okay. Right now he's looking pretty smart in my book. All right. So let's look at some other stuff. See what's going on. Commodity prices. Oil continues in that bull phase. Right. They're up a half a buck, 30 cents. Let's say about a 0.5%. Gold, silver, copper down another nickel. Okay, these are the big indicators. The copper doesn't lie either. It's 450. It had reached a little over 270, 475. So again, a little softness there. What are we seeing? Just keep an eye on it. Commodity chemicals, agricultural commodities, pretty, some up, some down, no real trend there. Okay, so nothing to do. Lumber had come off their highs, right? We knew that was crazy. When they were building with steel instead of wood because it was cheaper, you knew that this thing would come in. What else do we have? We have the currencies. Dollars down against North America, down against the yen, down against China, but it is up from the recent lows. So we did get a small bounce there. And Europe is flat as a pancake for a change. Crypto. So we have Bitcoin up 5%. Let's so Coinbase up 6%. Ethereum's up 1.5%. Okay, look, the charts stink. Okay, nothing, so if you want to, I mean, as a trade, I wouldn't trade these things. As an investment, you pick your spots. I don't know. I mean, as a trade, I think the charts provide no support in my book. And let's look at the foreign markets. Okay, we got the FTSE down 0.3%, 21 bucks. DAX down 70 points, a half a 0.45, and Nikkei is down 0.35. China was flat, Hong Kong was flat. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. All right, so the only thing that concerns me on there is the bond market, and for now, let's just say it's at the bottom of the range because there's no other reason to say otherwise. But let's keep an eye on it. Okay, so that's that. Let's look at so China. The U.S. passed what, a $250 billion spending spree to combat Chinese spending. Okay, basically. Okay, they spend it on semis, and they said 250 military and economic ambitions. So that's the story with the 250 billion. And now they have to come to some kind of agreement on the infrastructure bill. I think the best case basis is it's a lot lower than what Biden was asking for, if anything gets passed. How's it going to play out? I don't know. I just think the number he was throwing around is not happening. Let's put it that way. Crypto world, we discussed. Oil, we discussed. The virus, we have that new strain that's in Europe. I forget what they call it, but they say it's pretty aggressive strain, and they're worried about it coming to the U.S., etc. And they're telling everybody, get your shots before it comes over here. Okay, the dollar, Mr. Market. So yesterday, let's see what we have. On the long side, we have materials, restaurants, solar, EV, and retail. On the short side, we had consumer non-durables, pharma, Bitcoin, and FANG. But make no mistake, guys, this is a Reddit market. That's where the action is. That's where you're going to make your money. And all the research and all the BS doesn't amount to a hill of beans, because that's where the money's being made. Okay, so you have to come in here. You have to recognize what kind of market we're in. We're in a complete speculative, Reddit-driven, Wall Street bets kind of game. Okay, and that's it. So focus on those stocks. And to focus on anything else right now is a sideshow compared to what's going on there. Let's put it that way. All right. How do I think things are going to play out today? Well, the bond market is telling me that you're going to get initial softness in banks and insurance stocks for sure. And you should get a bounce in these high PE tech and semis. Out of the gate, they look good. I'm a little concerned with retail if oil keeps staying strong. Okay, but for now, it's fine. So we have that. So that's the clear delineation, I think. You're going to see cyclicals probably weak. You're going to see banks weak. You're going to see material names weak, mining type names, and you're going to see weakness in insurance. Those are the areas of weakness. Had I see coming out of the gate this morning, obviously things can change. And you have high PE tech, you got semis, you got EV and solar, and FANG, and those kind of names should be strong. Okay, and then you have, it's separate from everything, you have the Reddit crowd. Okay, like I've been telling you guys, in the banks, the way to play these names is you have to either buy them on weakness or short them on strength. Okay, because the ranges aren't enough to make money otherwise. So here we're getting a weak opening. If the bond market were to change during the course of the day, I would probably gravitate to these names. Right now, I'm watching the Reddit names because that's where I'm making money. And we'll see. Okay. And we'll see how it goes. If I do gravitate into those names, I will definitely let you know. Okay. But for now, I'm focusing my energy in this stuff in the Reddit. All right. Let's look at some research that came out on the short side. This call in BAP is interesting. We have two guys downgrading the stock. We got Morgan Stanley going from an outperform to an equal weight. And we have Citibank going to a sell with a 114 target from 165, stocks 134. Now, I've told you guys, or I've espoused a million times, what I think is the most important thing in the market that moves stocks, right? We know what that is? Anybody? Government. There you go, Joey. Joey don't sleep. Good guys. So here we have a call based on the government. This is a Peruvian company. They are in the credit business in Peru. And the call is basically that uncertainty with the preliminary results in the Peruvian election suggests that Pedro Castillo will be the next president in the country. Less market friendly at the outset, particularly due to higher risk from systematic changes promoted by the executive. Okay, so this is a big call, all right? It says something, it's a government call. So I kind of like this call, all right? I think this is an interesting situation. And it goes with what I've been saying about government, all right? What else? So RBC is negative on ride and they have a $5 target. But let's look at it in the context of the complete call out of RBC. They initiated FSR. This is Fisker with an outperform and a 27 target, stocks 18. So they like Fisker because it's asset light, which means that company that's producing the watches for, producing a bunch of stuff for Apple in China. I forget the name off the top of my head, but they're an amazing manufacturing company. They're using them. Now I invested in Fisker #1 and got my brains bashed in because they didn't produce their own battery and the factory they used to produce the battery went out of business. I think they've learned their lesson, so they're asset light. Foxconn is going to produce the cars for them. So this to me is a decent pair trade, probably a good idea. If you buy Fisker, you short ride. The only caveat is if these Reddit boys get involved in ride, then you'll get your brains bashed in. So you got to be careful. Maybe you do it, I don't know, maybe with puts. I don't know. I have to figure it out. I like the pair trade. I just don't want to be exposed to these guys. And a ride is the kind of name that these guys would gravitate towards, especially if the short interest increases. And my guess is it increases based on, the call that went out yesterday that they don't have any money. So that won't stop these guys. So you got to be careful. All right. So that's the caveat. STX initiate with a sell. Reiterate sell, but there's guys who like it. So when I have a stock where I have some guys who like it and some guys who don't, I generally stay away. I don't want to fight the Muhammad Ali's of the world. I want to fight the 80-pound weakling, and sticks to me is the Muhammad Ali's. I don't want to mess with it. SO reiterate the sell at Mizuho. This is an interesting call too, because the Georgia State, whoever makes the utility prices, delayed 7 to 9 months as far as we're looking at raising rates. So that's a negative for these guys. So this one may work. All right. I'm probably not going to do it because I want to focus on these other names that we're involved in, but that's important. And coin, Raymond James, I love them. We initiate with a sell, and the basis of their call is there are no barriers to entry. So their margins are going to go down, their volumes are going to go down, their market share is going to go down, et cetera, et cetera. Interesting call. Okay. That's really, oh, and Stifel downgraded Wendy's to a hold. I don't think the stock trades on these analysts, it trades on other things. Let's put it that way. Let's look at the long side. What do we have here? CC upgrade to buy from neutral, target 35 to 47. I used to have a very big position in this name. They are in the titanium dioxide business that goes into paints and stuff like that. It's pigment. Now they're saying that pigment prices are set to increase. And I say, where have they been when the stock's gone up 50% in the last few months? So I'm not going to chase it because all of a sudden Goldman likes it, but I'm just bringing it to your edification. That's it. BLDR, another interesting call out of Barclays. They think this is a unique value. They have a 70 target. They take the target from 68 to 70. They're doing that so they can talk about it again, basically. All right. Stock was 42, is 42. So they like it. Look at the chart, guys. It stinks, right? So you can trade it intraday, just don't take it home unless it trades over 45. All right. You know, intraday, you could do whatever you want, but I wouldn't take this home no matter what. Okay. Clack. Upgraded Deutsche Bank, target 375, stock's 313. This one's interesting. You remember this Weatherford, guys? It's a driller. Remember there was Weatherford, Slob, AKUs, Halliburton, those are the big dogs. Well, these guys, you know, I guess they went out of business and they came back, restructured. So they'll have no debt, so they're a much better competitor. And the stock's, what's it? They have a 22 target, stock's 15 and a half. So it's hard competing against a company without debt in a tough business. That's why I bought Hertz. Okay, they're coming out of bankruptcy. They're going to compete with Avis. Avis has a ton of debt. Hertz won't have any, et cetera, et cetera. The new symbol is WFRD. Well, Weatherford, WFRD. It used to be WFT. Now it's WFRD. That's really, oh, there's two other calls that I like. ANF got upgraded to buy at Jefferies from hold. Target goes 46 to 57. Remember the best analyst, the JP Morgan guy, likes the name. So they have a 57 target. They think margins are going to increase. They reposition the company. It's paying off, et cetera, et cetera. They really like it. And the last call that I'll highlight is FOXA. Wells Fargo upgraded that. They have a 47 target, stock's 36, and they think they're going to be in the sports betting business, and that's going to help them going forward. Okay, so that's that. Syndicate-wise, we have one deal. It is hot. Symbol is MQ. Let me find my note on it. I think they're in the payments business. Let me find it. Platform for card issuing and digital payments. Indication was 20 to 24, price to 27, Goldman Sachs. And we got a few secondaries as well. On the docket for tomorrow is Playboy. Okay, that's a big one. There's like 7 to 8 secondaries coming. And I'm sorry, 9 IPOs and 6 secondaries coming. You got to watch those guys because when they get too heavy, the market stalls out. Okay, so keep an eye on that end of the spectrum because it can overwhelm the market with a ton of supply. Okay, when I did make some notes on it, but that's it. The MQ will be definitely hot. And as far as the secondaries, hold on. Is there any that turned me on? The Tiger came, I believe. Yeah, that came to 24.50. Okay, so stocks popping after that. The other ones we really don't trade. And on the docket, we got Playboy and Leslie's Pool, a few other names. The only one we really trade is Playboy. And that's really it. Okay, so that's my sense for today. You know, we'll see what happens coming out of the gate. I will be trading, you know, these flying type names. And I'll watch the bond market. That's my primary focus, those two things today. And if banks get smashed, I'll probably, if I watch the bond market looking for an entry point. If I see one, I'll let you know. But for now, I'm just on the sidelines in that area. Okay. How about Reggie? Is that for me? Reggie from Archie Comic Books? It's Reggie. I see nothing in Reggie. Oh, Reggie. Initiated by Citibank. I don't know. Just turn you on? Okay. That's a call. I mean, I got to select the ones that I think are the better ones. But if you like this one, Holden, that's fine. Chart is good. Yeah, it's a good point. I like it, Reggie. It looks nice. Okay, and that's it for me. I'm going to pass it to Spartan. Thanks for your time, guys, and let's make some money.
Hey guys, morning. Let's do a quick little recap of what we talked about this morning. Guys, if you're new to chat, make sure to click on the Discord link that's emailed to you. If you don't see it, it's in your junk mail. Reposted the instructions there. Come into chat real quick. Go to the new to chat information section. Click on the disclaimer as well. Give both a read. We'll talk about those in a little bit as well. Once we shut down the YouTube stream, I'll go through them in detail. Pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today? You guys can pause it if you want. AEMD, Wish, Clove, WWE. There's the pre-market notes, the charts all typed up, posted, blah, blah, blah. Alrighty, option side, same thing. There you go. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. Pre-market tickers on watch. Tesla, Path, WWE, Clove, Wish, AEMD. Tesla gapping up slightly in sympathy with the market. Path, earnings mixed. Large miss EPS, Rev beat, Q2 guidance raise, stocks gapping down. WWE gapping up, getting some social media attention. Sympathy with the other meme names. Clove. Clover Health says will scale in home primary care program through U.S. centers, Medicare and Medicaid services, direct contracting, stocks gapping up. Wish gapping up, continuation momentum from last day. And then AEMD are gapping up on a article from Zacks SCR, basically saying that this is the first ever Vivo removal of COVID virus from bloodstream. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, first two that we're going to be looking at today are Tesla and Path. Tesla pivot 606.16, levels able to hold. We have room for continuation into the 619.17 to 631.02 on the upside. Unable to hold, look for a pullback to 592.34 to 580.86 on the downside. Overall on Tesla, leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. Let's take a look at Path pivot to the downside today is actually 67.77, unable to hold, room towards 64.84 to 61.42, able to hold 70.64 to 74.96 can be retested. Overall on Path, leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower today. Let's take a look at WWE. Let's take a look at Clove. WWE 62.31 pivot. This level is able to hold. You got room towards 64.67 to 67.40s. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback towards 59.56 to 57.43 on the downside. Overall on WWE, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. If that pivot point's able to hold, we can see continuation higher, in my opinion. Clove 28.31 pivot level holds, room towards 30.26. That level breaks. We can see further continuation of 31.57. Unable to hold 24.94 to 23.03 will be the supports on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral on Clove as well, looking for a continuation higher if we can reclaim that pivot this morning. We'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at Wish. Let's take a look at AEMD. Wish 15.45 pivot level holds towards 16.57 to 18.19. Unable to hold 13.71 to 12.02. Leaning bullish neutral, looking for a reclaim of the pivot, continuation push to the upside today. Daily chart still has quite a bit of room. 1036 AEMD pivot levels able to hold 1374 to 1616 on the upside will be tested. Unable to hold 696 to 431 on the downside. Overall on AEMD, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if this pivot point's able to hold. Let's take a look at, leaning bearish neutral, looking for a pop and topping to take the name short. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. Market, what is going on here? SPY pivot upside today. 422.80 pivot to the upside. Whoa. To the upside today. This level holds. room for continuation higher into the 423, 26 resistance. Breaks, we see the 424.05 level tested. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower into the 421.88 support. Breaks, we see the 420.72 level tested. I am leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation higher. I want to see if we can break out of this consolidative pattern to all-time highs. We'll see what happens. I think it's a pretty good looking chart though. And if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I do post the SPY levels all day long. All right, SPY, Apple, next level, or sorry, at the Apple chart. So pivot to the upside today, 127.18. Levels able to hold 127.96 will be tested. If that level breaks, we can see further continuation on the upside into 129.24. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 125.92 to 124.98. Overall on Apple leaning bullish. Cross looking for a retest of the 50 MA, hold above it, continuation to the upside. Amazon pivot to the upside today, 32.56.87. Levels able to hold. Room towards 32.89 to 33.19. Unable to hold 32.08 to 31.72 will be tested on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push higher today on Amazon. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 492.21 to the downside, I should say. The sell is unable to hold. We got room for continuation lower towards 485.62 to 476.60. Able to hold 498.99 to 504.32 will be tested. Overall on Netflix, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today, looking for continuation lower if the pivot's unable to hold. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook, 33.79. 333.79, sorry. Room towards 338.48 on the upside if that pivot's able to hold. Unable to hold, 331.77 to the 329.08 will be tested on the downside, leaning bullish neutral on Facebook, looking for continuation higher. It's back to all-time highs. And then Google, 24.02 pivot level holds, 24.15 to 24.34 will be tested. Unable to hold, 23.84, 23.73 on the downside, leaning bullish neutral there. Looking for a continuation on the upside today. All right, let's take a look at the VIX and the Qs and IWM. VIX pivot upside today is the 1749. Unable to hold 1690, 1549. Able to hold 1837 on the upside. I use the VIX for direction on the market, and it's looking bearish right now. So we'll see what happens this morning, though. Let's take a look at the Qs. QQQ. Pivot to the upside today. It's this head and shoulders on the daily, which is 338.27. Levels able to hold. 340.02 on the upside will be tested. Unable to hold 335.43 to 333.97 will be tested on the downside. Overall on the Qs, leaning bullish neutral, looking for continuation on the upside today. And then last but not least, my friends, IWM, which is getting back to all-time highs, 232.40 pivot. Levels able to hold 234.51 will be tested. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards the 230.35 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. So that's the SPY, that's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. We're going to go ahead and close down the YouTube stream right here, right now. If you have any questions, you can go